Hello friends, welcome back to another video. I've been watching some of the sights of spring as the birds are coming out more and the weather has been a little nicer here in Texas. And I've been working on repurposing and updating a few items that I either had on hand or I had picked up recently. The items I worked on this week were darker stained items, and they're a little outdated, and I've given them a brighter color. And I've used a few molds and stamps and ink to give these a country French look. And my kitty bear is doing his inspection, making sure that everything's okay before I get started. This candle holder was given to me by one of my sweet daughter-in-laws, and she had a pair of these she'd had for quite some time. I think her mom gave it to her. This is the lid to a wooden box or chest. You can see the bottom part in the background. I removed the lid to make painting easier. I decided to not paint the middle section on this box. It's a really rich brown color that I think will blend nicely with the ink color that I'm going to use on some of the stamps for this piece. One thing I typically do when I'm painting several different pieces is keep a piece of tin foil handy to wrap my brush in so the paint stays moist and I am not running back and forth to clean my brush when I'm changing paint colors or going from paint to top coat. These next two items are reproductions. They're not antique, but they were pretty popular a few years ago. It's a reproduction of either soap molds or salt molds. I don't remember exactly, but I decided to put some lighter colored stamps on these and update them a little bit. The stamps I'm using here are made by Prima Redesign. You can find them on Amazon, and they're probably my favorite group of stamps. They just have a lot of really nice French country stamps in the set. To prep these pieces for stamps, I gave them a light sanding and then I put a just clear coat on them so the stamps would show up a little bit better on these kind of rough, rustic pieces. When you're stamping any of your pieces, you want to make sure that you use one hand to hold the piece in place and that you firmly press on the entire stamp to make sure that you get good contact on the piece and that the stamp doesn't move around and smear the design while you're working on it. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like this video. That will help trigger YouTube algorithms so that more people see this video. I do have a couple of spaces I rent in two different shops, and so I'm always mindful of the fact that people may not have ideas about what to do with certain pieces. So with this longer piece, you can see I'm putting some floral pieces in the center there, and then just giving an idea of maybe using this for picnics or outdoor eating and putting some of the utensils in that. I decided not to glue the flowers in place, but to just add the moss for stability, and this gives people options of using it for different things. This piece was not actually a piece of decor, but a cardboard container that I believe had a bottle of some sort in it. The stamps I'm using on this piece are actually probably have been discontinued. I think they're an older group of stamps that were made by Iron Orchid Designs. This cute little French country stamp can be found on Amazon. After I clean this piece up with some sandpaper around the inside edges where I did get a little paint, I'm going to put a small screw here to as a replacement for the latch that's broken. The additional stamps that I used on this piece, the bee and the crown, can be found on my Amazon page, which I will link below, as well as this mold that I'm working on here. I started by putting a little cornstarch in the mold to prevent the air dry clay from sticking to the mold. As you're pressing the clay into the mold, you want to try and push the clay to the outer edges to help prevent the clay from being too thick or too rounded. I'm using wood glue here to glue the piece onto the cardboard container. And I had to make a small piece there to fill in the gap. I recommend that you paint the mold before the air clay completely dries. It does prevent some of the cracking. This piece really didn't crack at all. Here's the set of Prima Redesign stamps called I See Paris, and I use these so often. Rather than black ink with these stamps, I've been using a brown color. It's called coffee, I believe, but this color seems to pair nicely, especially with the darker stained wood pieces. And then of course on the dark pieces I'm using a white ink. But all of these can be found on my Amazon page, and I think they just have a more gentle, antiqued and country French look over the traditional black ink used on stamps. The chalk paint I used on some of these pieces was Rust-Oleum Chiffon Cream, and it's a nice ivory color, except on the wooden box, which had a little bleed through, but I felt that really worked out well because I gave it an antiqued look. Thank you for watching today's video. Please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video.